Testing 1 2. Testing
brother.
1 2. I got my old nano back, so hopefully my sound's gonna be fucking good.
Yeah.
It sounds better,
brother.
I think, Jess.
In my ears, it sounds better. I don't know, man. I really want the new microphone to work. We'll see. We'll see what my recording's.
All right.
It sounds better in
So-
Skype. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will tell you the story,
Yes.
but I'll tell you the story. But if it's shit, cuz you can just scrap it on Unscripted. Okay. So do you know? I've kind of been working on this, but do you know when you have a dream when you're trying to get something done and 5 other things get in the way and you never get it done? You know that dream?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a dream that Hogan was trying to get his 4-set finisher in and couldn't get it done. And no joke, dude, I swear to God, like he's got to do this 4-set finisher for some pay-per-view. And first of all, he had to, and this is exactly what we were talking about before we recorded. He had to put his boat in the water. That was number one. That had to happen.
Wait,
but then
he was talking to you like you were like his agent or something, and he was
Dave,
telling
brother,
you these-
yeah, I don't know. Like he had to get the finisher in, but he couldn't do it because he had to get his boat in the water first. Because this is an underlying tone of who Hogan is, right? It's how I discovered it as the dream goes on. Then after that, we got into a fight at his karaoke club, right? Got into a fucking actual fist fight with some other people.
Hogan's
and then,
a dick.
It's all bad.
He's a dick.
Plus line,
yeah,
brother.
he's even more of a dick because you know why? Because he fucking left before the cops came and I had to fucking pin the guys down.
I can see that.
And fill out a report. He's like, I gotta go. I got shit to do. And then I fucking caught up with Hogan after that, and he's like, brother, I'm building a track for my son Nicholas until he gets out of his DUI. And don't worry, Jess, you were there helping build the track. I swear to God, you were there. I was like, yeah, I gotta get this fucking track built.
There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. But yes.
And then after all of that, finally we're getting ready to do the
like a racetrack.
Yeah, like a drifter track. You had to build a drifter track.
Somewhere to drive because it's sudden.
I like. Yeah, I was gonna say that's Hogan's solution, which makes sense. He'd be like, "Well, I don't want to get another DUI, so what if we make the track?" And we let him I literally look at my watch and I'm like, "Oh, it's 50 minutes past the ending of the pay-per-view. You missed your 4-move set to get this fucking thing done." He never got. And you know the 4-move set that I'm talking about, right? You're talking about gotta take the punches, gotta stomp around, and big
then you gotta do the big boot, and then you gotta put the leg drop for the fucking pin. Never got it done, brother. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, it doesn't work for me, brother. That's what I discovered.
He didn't want to do the job, Dave. Like he didn't have to.
He didn't want to do the job. He
just didn't want to do the job.
I just didn't want to do
He didn't want to do the job.
And I guarantee you, if your dream
job.
kept going and you figured out who he didn't want to do the job for, it would without question, it would be one of two people. And there's no other two people. It'd be either Bret Hart or it'd be Randy Savage.
Yep,
Those are the people easily that he didn't want to do the job for.
Well,
so if your dream continued, it would be.
Or Sting.
It would either be Brett or Randy Savage confronting him in the locker room going, "Where were you at, brother?" "I don't know, Jack. I was trying to build a track with Dave." Fucking Dave. Jess.
We ain't stinking and hot dogging out there on the track with Dave, yeah.
But I'm not even kidding.
Let me guess, we had Jess building the track too, yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. That was my dream. It was 3 nights ago. It was 3. I had the best fucking
That's fucking
sleep
hilarious.
ever.
Macho Man knows about me. Like, I'm a dick to Macho Man. He's like, "Let me guess. Fucking Jess was there. And fucking Dave." Like, yeah, we were there. Like,
got all the cool people on your side, yeah.
You son
That's
of a
fucking
bitch.
hilarious,
Yeah.
though.
"Oh, let me guess. Jess and Dave were fucking
That
there.
was
Of
your dream
course
3
they
nights
were.
ago,
Of
you
course
said?
they were."
Building the fucking track, right, brother? Yeah.
God damn it. I really wanted to. Like, why can't humans join dreams? I would love to have called Dave the next day going, "Did you? That was pretty awesome, right?" He's like, "Yeah, you were building the thing." "I know, I was building the thing." And then I would tell Dave what I was doing before he got there, because obviously my dream would be going on and Dave's dream would intertwine. This totally is like kind of what we were talking about before we recorded, by the way. Yeah, this is kind of what this is a lighter version of what we were talking about before. So yeah, like, and then I could tell him, "Well, here's what I was doing before. So here's what Hogan said to me," and then you'd be like, "Oh." So then after that, he must have went to Dave, had Dave's dream with him, and then came back in my dream, and then they merged. Like, it would be amazing. It would be the best thing ever. Why can't we dream?
You start
Out of all the misery that we have to deal with as people and all that stuff, like, why can't we fucking have cross dreams? It's bullshit.
Well, whoever
figures out that software is going to be a fucking trillionaire.
Yeah.
You're on your way to my dream when you see some smoke coming out and smells really good.
I wouldn't even know. Yeah, I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, I would be like, "I gotta go." Like, I would just, as soon as the Cuz dream comes in.
Yeah, like, I don't know
what Randy said would do. He's like, well, I've been in this dream, and he opens the door, and Cuz is like just sitting back.
We've been doing shrooms and weed all day, brothers. Like, come on.
Yeah, there's these neon lights are behind him, exactly what you see right now.
A lot of
I think,
come on in.
What you're describing, I might literally run towards, but that's okay.
Come on in the freak out.
I might just like, Cuz, where's the shroom?
See, yeah, Macho would be the fun person that he didn't want a job to. Brett would be fucking annoying because he'd just whine, and I'd be shut up.
That'd be oh my god, imagine that dream. You're just sitting in a room with Brett, just sitting there.
He is.
Yeah, he's not even getting
right now.
He's not even getting high with you or anything like that. He's just fucking being a bitch in the corner. Like I was like, I thought this boring. Like what a shitty dream.
My brother Owen was here, would be tearing it up.
Hey, yeah, if Owen was there, if Anvil was there, tearing it up, 100%. If Davey was there, oh my god,
Dreams would be better.
We have a good time.
Hey, and I don't even think that's such out of like the line, Dave, to be a storyline. I could see. I don't know why that couldn't be a storyline.
Wait, what? Like the dream?
Just the dream. Like it can easily happen. They do fucking cinematic movies now in wrestling. Yeah. They do like all the vignettes and all that shit. There's no way.
I mean, if Hogan wants
over
to
like
return,
a 4-week span, like a leading up to WrestleMania hype, which we'll talk about WrestleMania obviously first.
I can just see just like with a shovel. Yeah. Why building track? Nick,
like brother. Character A goes to character B, and then it's like, what are you doing right now? It's like, well, I'm making this, and it won't be a track. It could be disguised as something else. And like, okay, and then they do that, and then it creates conflict, and then fucking there you go.
Oh man,
it's totally a wrestling story.
That'd be funny. Just like everyone like just start intertwining. Like you're digging the dirt for the track and everything, and you find a sledgehammer. You're like, a sledgehammer. You go Hogan, and then you see Triple H right behind him, like just ready to attack him.
Yeah, it just all writes itself. I don't understand.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was super weird. WrestleMania.
15 days away, right?
Well,
15?
About 15. Yeah, because it was 19 on Monday, so.
The first time in over 2 years that we
night one is 2 weeks. Well, we're recording this on a Friday. It'll air on Saturday, so it's 2 weeks from the time you're hearing this.
Yep. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
It'll be a year since we watched live. Watched it in SoFi last year.
Yeah, and that was fun. That was a great time too. So I don't remember the last time that I think almost everything worked for me. I'm not saying I'm overly invested in everything that's going on, but it is such a dramatic difference without Vince there. A dramatic fucking difference.
Way better.
Like it is the graphics, the everything. I was watching SmackDown tonight.
Presentation, man.
Yeah, I was watching SmackDown tonight, and there's so many things that are just more modern and easier to stomach, and there's no camera shakes and shit, and like it's so much better.
I like.
Oh my god! And even the build up with the damage control tonight. I mean, I'm going to jump all over the place, but the build up, like everything was done so well, and it was done to where they knew you weren't going to see Bayley, but they wanted the way everything was booked. They needed that crowd to chant her name, and they did right on cue. And like it was perfect because if you watch that whole segment without sound, you just see Bianca run out and she dominates for a bit, and then she gets her ass kicked because there's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
And so they beat her down, and they're just standing over her. But if you turn the sound up, as they were, Sky went to put her foot on Bayley, like just to dominate her and hold the belt up or whatever, everybody was chanting, Bayley, Bayley. And I was like, that is perfect. That is fucking perfect. Like every segment, even the Cody and Roman segment at the end was wonderful. Yep. And like everything that Cody is so over, it's stupid.
Yeah,
like it's just so dumb. Like that's the only really thing, if I'm being honest and looking at the storylines as someone who's watched wrestling for fucking, I don't even remember how long, since 87. Like, I'm like, that's the only reason why I'm like, Cody's got to win. Because I'm listening to the organic stuff and I'm like, God damn it. Even though there's evidence everywhere that could lead to it going on and Roman not losing or whatever. Namely, the graphic when Roman came out tonight showed how long he'd been champion, how many days. And I was like, Cody's losing. Yeah, then it was in my head. I was like, fuck, Cody's losing.
But,
like,
however,
they just showed how many days.
Last year, we were all for sure that Cody was winning. And I remember like a day or two before that, I don't know why it just hit me. Watching the promo package or something, I was like, I don't think Cody's going to win on Sunday. I really don't think he's going to win. And then like,
when he walked down, it was weird. It just said Roman Reigns, Universal Champion, and right below it, champion for 1,000, however many days he's been champion.
Yeah,
I was like, there they go. Now they're going to start hyping the days. Like, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
There's no way Cody's going to win now. Like, but I can't tell.
Reverse.
Like, in other words, I could guess, but it's such good writing, and it's so good right now to where like you don't know.
Isn't that the best thing where you really don't know?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's why I love it.
It's been so long where we never knew, and even WrestleMania where we thought we knew, and there was a few doubters. I think Roman's going to carry it. I was like,
well, even back in the 80s, you knew Hogan was going to win. You just knew it.
Yeah.
The storyline with Savage and Hogan was just so good. We all loved it, and we were invested. But like in the end, you're like, Hogan's beating him. No,
I would think the one that we were questioning was Hogan Warrior, but I think when they called the Ultimate.
Well, then if I took my Hogan glasses off back in the time, it was all over the place that Warrior was going to win. There was no way Warrior was going to lose. It was telegraphed. Now it's like unless it's some kind of telegraphing that's just a new way to do it. I don't think they purposely telegraph. I just think when a story's told right, there are clues automatically, even without the writer putting the clues in. It will just kind of go that way. And sometimes it will just make sense. Sometimes when they swerve you, that's what takes me out of it. When I'm like, if it's an unnatural swerve that shouldn't have happened, I'm like, fuck, that sucks. Like, because like I felt you try. You know what I mean? Like, but when it's just if they have indeed, like Paul Heyman said, they've written this story out, and I'm not going to put let's just say it's a 4-year story, right? They kind of know the beats they're going to want to hit.
Yeah.
The Rock was lucky that The Rock became available this year, so then they inserted him. But the main storyline is probably still untouched. They just added The Rock in, and now Rock's kind of doing some things. And, Punk got injured, so Seth is now a part of the main storyline. And like a lot of it, it's just I think the underlying storyline's always been the same, and we'll never really.
And that's
know
how you're going to keep it. If they want him to like carry it after this Mania, and then still even after next Mania, that's how you do it. Is that you do him and Cody this year, and then next year you finally have the Roman and Rock, the match that everyone's always been talking about, and then
we've talked back and forth on our thread or whatever. Like I could be wrong. I'm just guessing.
In 2 years after that,
I'm just guessing. Oh Jesus Christ! I'm guessing, but like. There is like Seth turning on Cody is screaming at me.
Yeah,
it's just screaming at me. Like
so is Jay.
It's like, dude, he has every reason. Now, if Vince was booking this shit still, I wouldn't know what to expect because he never did anything that made sense towards the end. But like with Triple H,
Vince wouldn't have made the matchmaking to this.
Just like Triple H.
Yeah, it was like Goldberg would run out for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here we go. Like, what are we doing here? But with Triple H, I'm like, like he's doing all of this for a reason. And I'm like, oh fuck, like I think I know what way it's going, and then I don't like at all. And so I love it. First of all, like I love it. Like I haven't felt this way about a storyline in a long time.
Who's to say that? Like,
and then their changes. There's the look of the arenas. I love the Raw look, the way Raw looks now with the all black background with just the red letters. It's not, and they don't light the crowd up obnoxiously anymore, and like or anything like that. Like it's all. I love it so much.
I'm glad you brought that up
going.
because there's like other little things that they've been doing too. Like I like the way they show them get into the arena. I know they've always kind of done that, but like it looks more like when they do in UFC. When they just arrive and they're in their gym with their gym bags and everything and just kind of casually talking and stuff and just kind of, nothing crazy or, storyline related is going on. It's just them getting there like real athletes, real fighters, getting to the arena ready to fight. And then
they're dropping little nuggets. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Seth got to the building, he was holding his baby and he was like letting his baby meet a bunch of people he hadn't met. That was like a little thing that I was like, oh, like they want you to like Seth. Yeah. And that's why I'm kind of thinking more like, like, Seth's going to turn on Cody. Seth's going to turn on Cody. And I love it. Like, if that happens, I'm like, everything they did with Cody was genius. With Seth was genius up until that point because you didn't see it coming. Like, you thought for the second. I mean, again, I'm just guessing. It could all go totally different, which it probably will. But, like, I don't watch the product as much as I used to when I was a kid and obsess over it. So, like, I probably am missing certain things and certain beats.
I'm listening.
So you probably see the beats more than me.
I'm listening to like every word. I'm paying attention to every like whether it's like a sentence that they want you to pay attention to or whatever. Just like every little thing and all the little like just the little changes like we keep saying like that they add to the production. That is awesome alone. Like I don't know who it was. It was The Miz and R-Truth. They were back with Regeneration X backstage, and they were talking about like, we got to get in this 6-pack. We got to get in this 6-man ladder match, tag team ladder match, blah, blah, blah. And they were just talking, and Indusher showed up. Jinder Mahal's little faction. They showed up, and they looked at them. And
I hate to wrestle the rest of those guys.
Yeah, but that was cool. So you
like,
saw
you have to wrestle those guys, dude.
Or no, remember what he said? He's and then like, because they were looking at him, and R-Truth's like, what? And
Mrs. like, you guys go. I'll explain it to him on the way out.
But the way they camera angle, like the way they followed them like that, like up into their entrance was fucking
to your
cool.
point, that was not
really
only...
cool.
Well, that was not only that that realm though.
No.
It was also Cody. It was Cody, I
Mhm.
think, coming back from the ring, and it was one streaming shot
Yep.
from Cody leaving to picking up to R-Truth and Miz and
Yes, exactly.
DIY.
Yeah.
And then seeing Jinder Mahal and his team coming in, and then taking
It was
Miz and R-Truth to the ring, and it was all one shot.
It was all one shot. Yeah.
There was no frame changing,
Yep.
no camera changing, no nothing. I was like, wow, that was.
It was.
I think
really
I think
cool
Triple
and
I think
noticeable.
Vince
very
forever
Martin
was trying.
Scorsese.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
Vince forever was trying to fuse like Hollywood into WWE for the longest time, but he kept doing it storyline wise, hiring
Yeah.
writers, that Hollywood writers for the tele.
Yeah.
They didn't know wrestling. Triple H knows wrestling,
Yep.
and he's the guy in charge now. But he has reversed it, like, and he has just said, "Why don't we bring movie qualities, not to the writing of our product? Because
Yeah.
if you don't know wrestling, you're not going to connect with the wrestling
Exactly.
audience. Why don't we just do it production wise and
You might
segueing
connect
and all
with the
this
shot.
crazy shit?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I you know, you can say what you want about Triple H. I knew it when he ran Black and Gold NXT. I was
Oh,
like, he
God.
fucking knows what he's doing. Like he
It's
knows dead
working.
on what he's doing, and it's awesome. It's great, and like I think I love it.
Everyone
I
feels
want
useful.
this.
Like
By the
everyone
way,
feels like they're in a meaningful role.
Yeah,
I shared it with you guys, but did you see? Well, no, did I share it or did Cuz share it? I'm sorry. It's been the R-Truth thing where he was rapping on live. He's rapping on live video.
yeah, he did What's Up to Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Well, and he was rapping, and the elephant emoji came on his face, and he got scared. And he jumped out of the screen.
Yeah,
he's like, "Whoa!" I was like, I don't know if that
but
was
just
like,
you know, a lot of all this was a seed. You know, it's like I don't want to talk too much about Vince because I get it. You know, right? Like, but I mean, just his fingerprints are everywhere.
It is.
It's just when he got older and he stopped being in touch, but he's still Vince was always reaching for the next technological advancement and that edge and why our product's different and why we're entertainment and all that. And I know people have hated that from the start, but time comes for us all. And it left him. The creativeness left him. The pulse left him. And then when Triple H takes it over, it's an extension of what Vince always wanted.
Yeah.
Vince has always progressed this company. Every 5 years or so, it was just different. If you go back and look at 1990 and then look at 95, yeah, that was during a dead time in wrestling. But ignore that and look what he was just trying to do. And whether it was graphics or the way he shot stuff, or he was always trying different things. And when Raw came around, it changed everything because Raw was live. And it was just all this. So this Triple H to me has done the legacy good.
Yeah.
Like he's advancing it. And Kevin Dunn finally, it was Kevin Dunn,
Thank
right?
God,
the producer guy. Yeah. Now that he's gone again, you know, I know people shit on him. I get it. The camera shaking and all that stuff. And I am 100% with you. But there's a lot of things that he did that was fucking historic.
Mm-hmm.
So many shots that we remember that are burned in our brain was from his camera angles and his production. Vince peering up over the ring against Hogan at WrestleMania 19. Hogan and The Rock stare off, you know, where the crowd was switching and they had the two guys' head. That's all production. That's Rock, you turn your head to the left. Hogan, you turn your head to the right, and you guys just feel it and do it. Like, and that's Kevin Dunn, and it is. And I know people don't want to like agree with that stuff or whatever, but he was most of the memories that is burned in our head. Kevin Dunn was running the production, and he was watching the master monitor, going, "Okay, cut here, do that, or whatever." So, listen, you could shit on him all you want, but Triple H has proven. I respect all they've done, but we're going to the future. We're going, you know, all these great directions. It's just so good, really. And you know, like before they go to a commercial break, when they're in the middle of like one team coming out, like today, the Street Profits came out. And then when they said, "We'll be right back after the short commercial break," but the fucking graphic that they showed as they were like getting ready to go to commercial was fucking awesome.
No,
it was
they've
just
been
like
doing that for a while.
Kind of animation, but not really. And it was like them merging, they're sliding across. Like, it's awesome. And I was like, that is totally amazing. And I love it.
It reminds me of a sport when they do that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And I was just like, man, you could actually watch. I mean, SmackDown's awesome because it's only 2 hours, but you could actually watch the majority of Raw and not be bored, you know, like and anything. It's just, I love everything they're doing.
3 hours, yeah.
NXT,
it's 3 hours is still way too long, and I know they're never gonna stop it because they get all that advertising money. But I mean, like, it's just 3 hours is way too long. 2 hours is perfect.
Yeah, 2 hours
shouldn't do 3 hours.
3 hours should be safe for
but yeah, I love the build up. I love all the little things. You see Shawn and Triple H's handprints everywhere. And it's how they were as performers. And it's no surprise that like they're starting to book people like that. You know, when a wrestler finally admits that they're done It's amazing how creative they become.
Yep.
When they're still fighting for their spot, yeah, they cut people's legs off. Triple H did that a lot. He wasn't any different than Hogan, though.
Oh,
he wasn't any different than Brett or Shawn or anybody else. Like, when you get in that spot, you get paranoid. You're like, I got to protect myself. Like, and so I don't blame him for anything Triple H ever did, because now that he's out of it and he knows he doesn't have a dog in the fight, he's putting all this awesome shit together. Like, so I'm like, good, man. Like, I love the usage of everybody. I love the Braun package tonight because they were using
awesome.
yeah, you don't know his character yet. You will, but you don't know it yet. So now they were using the numbers, like how fast he could run, the ropes, and what all that, and that resonates to people. And it's sport related, and like people get that because you're putting his stats up, and that's part of his video package, right? They've never done that with a wrestler before. So everything that Triple H,
I would argue that, and this is a good thing. I'm not trying to contradict Jess, but I would argue that this is why I keep seeing more and more people posting, this is why wrestling's fake, and they show something in slow-mo where something never connected. I'm like,
I don't think WWE doesn't do that. It's the people that get it and they capture that shit and they put it on there.
100%. No, that's what I'm saying. But because everything is getting so upper level and getting so impacting in a way that's like good storyline, and it's drawing the casuals in, I'm starting to see more and more like, this is why WWE is fake. I'm like, how did you not know it's fake, dumbass? Like,
it's a movie. It's always been one.
You get those extremes, but I'm like, but the fact that I'm seeing it on social media means it's drawing in more people that it didn't before.
But there's a lot of trolls in those pages that know that.
Back to Vince. Remember when before they monetized Twitter and all that stuff, Vince always drove home, and this was like 15 years ago. Vince drove home. Twitter, put that we're trending, say that we're trending, Twitter.
Yeah.
Vince was beating the shit out of it. Like, and then all of a sudden after that, like influencers started coming up, and then TikTok became a thing, and Instagram got bigger, and then they found a way to monetize all that stuff. And Vince was like, fucking told you. Like, it just became another revenue source for them. And
I hate to say it,
free advertisement.
People that go off on the fact that it's fake and show an example still gets the product out there.
It does.
And that's what they want.
Good. Call it fake all you want.
Yeah, call it fake all you want.
They're making millions. They're making billions.
I almost said an F-word, but I had to stop myself from saying.
Newsflash, dipshit. We've known it for 30 years that it's fucking,
Those people are scripted. Soviet anti-tank missiles is what they are. Yeah. We'll tell you what that means after, Dave.
They absolutely are. I will 1,000% agree.
Join us back after the break.
But even on the AEW side, like they've had a couple really good shows. Really, since the pay-per-view Sting's retirement, I've really enjoyed, and I like their lead up too. They've been really good. They had it in Canada this week. Edge beat Christian for the TNT title. Look, they're not the big machine. They're not WWE. They're fun. Can
I ask a question?
Except for Monet, she's trash. But I mean, she's not trash. Let me rephrase that. The way they're using her.
It's not going to use her as a baby.
We just talk about
not use her as a baby face. That's the thing.
Well, that's a very good point.
She's a bad baby face.
We just talked about how good the machine was, right? With production and the way they get behind their people. AEW is not capable of that. It's not big enough that yet. I don't know if I'll ever get like that. But I mean, like, she's going to be, mark my words. And I hope I'm wrong, because guess what? If I'm wrong, we get quality wrestling and product. And
we'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy it.
But I don't think I'm going to be wrong. She will be the biggest example. I've already said it about Miro and Aleister Black and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That you think the grass is green. You think that you're creative. You think that you could survive without the machine. And then the second you get outside the machine, you're like, this pool's deep, it's scary, and I can't swim. And she's going to find out the fucking hard way. Her promos are terrible. And everything that they've done so far, her theme song is terrible. And this is all, Tony Khan said, yeah, Monet, you bring all your ideas. And she's got her own producers, right?
Well, that's got a lot of money, Monet. You're going to come out.
Yes, it's the way he yells. Like, so it's stupid. And like, I'm like, even if she gets in there and she wrestles her ass off and she has 19 star matches, that's all good. She's going to find out the hard way that without a proper machine behind you, pushing your character, speaking for you when you're not there, meaning WWE does video packages and vignettes and all that stuff that does the talking for stars, even when they're not live on the mic, right? That WWE's always pushing their characters on you subliminally, even when they're not there. And that's what AEW doesn't do. Maybe Tony Khan doesn't want to do that. Maybe he's not big enough to. Maybe he doesn't even know that that's a thing. It's
he
like,
doesn't
but
have
that's what WWE.
He doesn't have the ability to.
But that's what I'm saying. Without that, she is going to find out. Just like Miro, who bitches now about being there. I'm like, yeah, but you bitched when you were at the other company that they were never using you. Now you get here and you see, oh, you might just be mid. Oh, does that burn in your chest? Like, you might just not be great. Like, so guess what?
I'm the
Mr.
Redeemer.
Perfect and Jake Roberts and all them and Dolph Ziggler made a fucking living. And The Miz, they make a living off being in the middle. Shut the fuck up. If you ever get back to WWE, shut the fuck up. Collect your paycheck, do your job, and stop. Like,
Dolph
stop it.
Dolph does not mind where he's at. Daniel Bryan does not mind.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why Dolph was there. How many times did Dolph's contract come up over the last 15 years?
Yeah.
And he's like, nope, staying, nope, staying, nope, staying. Because he knew it's just fucking.
And they let him do his stand-up comedy on the side. So he's like, you're letting me do my stand-up comedy, so I'm saying,
Miz, same thing. Paycheck. You don't think that Tony Khan would hire The Miz? Of course he would, because he has WWF television exposure. Yep. But Miz is like, nope, staying, nope, staying,
By
nope,
the way,
staying. I'll do Maurice 17. Just
topic of Miz. His wife Maurice is on the recovery.
I did see
found
that
every bit of cancerous tumors and removed everything. It was very dangerous, but as soon as she's going to be on the mend, she's going to be okay. And all the while, The Miz is
I hope so.
vying for a spot at WrestleMania during all this. She literally had like 4 incisions through all parts of her stomach. It was really terrible, but it seems like they caught everything and she should be okay. Yeah, it's great. It's good news. So I just wanted to call that out. But
good.
Going back to Jess's point about AEW and everything that's going on there. Money is not so money. I think. I mean, we made a joke that in 2 weeks she's going to be booed. Right now they're cheering CEO.
I know what you're going to say, cuz, and you're wrong, and I'll tell you why.
Wait, what?
Because I know what you're going to say, and you're wrong, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because
I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Because WWE is smart enough to know that when someone shifted, especially with Triple H as the helm, like, you turn them heel, and you can do that, and you're capable of doing that. Tony Khan is not smart enough. When people start booing her, and it's coming. He is not smart enough to turn her heel. They're gonna keep pushing because Monet's gonna be like, this is my vision. That's what I want to do. I'm just gonna be Monet. And if they don't like me, that's great. People want to cheer me, yay! Like, that's how she's gonna play it, and it's wrong.
I said that in the text. I said I don't think they're creative. They're creative enough.
You did say that's a good point. You did say that. Yeah, you did say that at the end. But that's what I mean. Like, you're wrong in the sense that I know you hope that, because a normal person would think that. Like,
I hope
if they could actually capitalize on that momentum and switch it real quick, because the women's division is nothing. It's dirt shit. And like, not that the women don't try hard, please do not misunderstand me. They're just not hyped right. AEW doesn't know how to push their women's division. They fucking don't have a clue. And like, Tony Storm got over despite AEW.
Yeah,
but she got over on her own. That's why we said
there's like the 4. There's the 4 or 5 there that are actually really talented, that know what they're doing. The only reason why I'll give Tony Khan and Monet a little half credit in that. Look at the character, look at the music. How do you not want to boo that? So how do they? You can't tell me that you can't at least have a little bit of self-awareness and think that that's going to get booed eventually. Like, so I hope that is the plan.
Sasha does. I'm not going to give Tony that credit. I'm going to give Sasha that credit and say I hope that Sasha does.
She's all about money. People hate greedy CEOs with money.
If they pivot, to your point, if they pivot, that fucking song.
It's horrible.
Like, that fucking song. The first time I heard that song, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, I thought in my head before you even said it, cuz I was like, oh, she's going to be heel. She's coming in his face to just get the pop and the what we thought was going to be a rating spike, and there was no rating spike. And like, all that, they thought they're going to get that, and then she's going to turn heel. I thought the same thing that Punk, but they were going to push Punk as a face the entire time.
Yeah,
they were. And that's the thing, is like, Punk should have been turned heel right when everybody started booing him. Like, And
I always criticize them for this, and a little part of me is like, I think they might turn her. I think this is the
no, they won't.
They
won't.
They're not.
They won't. But see, here's the thing. I think that, and I'm just saying you because we have this discussion. I think
I love her.
You put your creativity in their head, and you want them to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't, and then you get pissed. I never expected them to ever do the right thing. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like, look, I get from them what, and this is not a good light. But I get from them what WCW 93, 94 did for me. It was an alternative, and it was their lowest period, WCW. But at the same time, I I remember that stuff, and I love that they would try. I love that they would get in there, and Vader was allowed to beat people up, and then they had great matches that I didn't think they would have.
Can I ask you a question then on this? Because there was two concerns I had with watching AEW this week, which I don't get to watch very often, but I had the ability to go into a hotel room and watch them on a Wednesday night. And two things bothered me. One, you can comment on the Christian Edge match, which was really good, with the exception of I didn't like Edge dressing up in a hockey jersey and Christian, taking that and them fighting. I know it's camera angles.
It was a spot. To their defense, it was a spot.
They're in Canada.
It's a spot.
Yeah.
It's a spot there in Canada. Get the camera angles right. That's fine. I'll accept that. The other part was,
well, hang on, not to disrupt you, but you didn't like it because what we were talking about earlier, production's not there. So basically what happened, for people who didn't see it, was Edge grabbed an opposing jersey and put it on Christian. And then Edge was going to get the hometown jersey and put it on, and then he was going to pull, this is how it was supposed to happen. And then he was going to pull the jersey over like hockey players do and then do the uppercuts, like when hockey players fight.
Which he eventually did.
What ended up happening was when he put the jersey on Christian's neck, Edge knew he only had a few moments to pull that off. So he immediately turned around and told the fan, give me the fucking other jersey, quick. Because you saw Edge do it urgently, but the camera didn't pan away from Christian. So as the camera's still shooting Christian, you see Christian go, take the jersey, because Edge only hung it around his neck. Christian goes, oh, let me finish putting this on. Oh, as he was selling and everything, and I was like, oh no! Like, how can you fuck that up?
They have a lot of blunders like that. They have remember when Moxley, they showed him blading himself and shit?
Yes,
under the table.
And CM Punk. Well,
CM Punk. Sorry, yeah, from CM Punk.
That was from a fan.
If they had panned away from that, I think I would have nothing to talk about. If they panned to Edge putting his jersey on, they changed the angle just slightly.
Dave, problem. I accept that, and I like that, because you don't watch AEW a lot. So the first time that you finally got to watch them, you're like, I feel it. I feel a little bit what they're putting down. I like it. However,
by the way, great
things
stuff
to you. These glaring things to you is what they do need to fix. This is the point that I know Cuz and I are at odds a lot about it, but we both say the same thing. It's like, you got to fix these holes. You have to. If you're a boat floating in the ocean, your first thing should be like, boats should never have holes ever because they're in the water. But like AEW is like, a few is fine, right? And it's like, no holes are okay in boats. But two are. No, not two.
Especially when you're trying to
no holes in boats. And it's like, you have to yell at Tony Khan to get him to understand that. No, none. Water cannot get into a boat or it will sink. And he's like, I don't know.
Hopefully he had a conversation about that. Hey, if there's something that doesn't look right, like where it's not kayfabe, don't fucking pan to it. Hopefully he had that conversation.
I'm going to tell you, Dave, he did not. I'm going to tell you right now that
let's fucking go. That's what he did.
Yeah, but I still like AEW a lot. I still love it.
I agree. I agree.
The same reason why I liked WCW back in the day.
Here's the other beef that was way bigger to me than that. That was the minor. Here's the major. We had 2 title changes on a cable event occurrence that I thought maybe should we have saved it to a pay-per-view. One was
Okada.
Oh gosh.
Okada and Eddie Kingston.
Okada just taking off Eddie, which people love Eddie. I'm not a fan of Eddie, by the way. Like, he's not. I'm a fan of his.
I like him, but
I'm not a fan of his work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love everything he does outside of the ring, and I get why Okada takes that off of him, but why take it off him on a weekly event versus a pay-per-view that people could have paid for?
Well, then I do have a reasoning for that, but go on. I don't want to stop your flow.
Well, and then we had the other.
I'm not saying it's the right reason. I'm just saying I have a defense a little bit for that.
And the other one maybe is slightly more obvious is that Edge takes the title off Christian because it's in Canada. But why couldn't we have waited?
And it's the TNT title. It's for the television.
Right.
That's their television title.
Yeah, that's a very good point on that, cuz I didn't think about that, cuz.
Oh yeah, for Edge, yeah.
So,
Edge
I didn't think about that.
Did they not?
I know what you're saying.
Did they not defend the TNT title at pay-per-view?
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Good, very point. They do. But my defense for Okada was I'm mixed on that, right? Like, I thought the same thing. Mm-hmm. But my gripe wasn't that they did it on TV. It's that they have had Eddie Kingston beat people that I don't believe he could really beat, like Moxley and Daniel Bryan and all that stuff. And I don't, but right. I was buying it. I was like, okay, if this is gonna be the push of Eddie Kingston's life, I like it. I'm here for it. Even when he beat Cuz actually texted, why the fuck did he beat Daniel Bryan when we watched the last pay-per-view? I'm like, why not? I mean, they're trying to tell us that story. So I was into it because I was like, okay. And then on a random Dynamite, he loses to Okada. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Listen, like you were telling me the whole story that he's better. Like the whole promo that Punk hit him with whenever him and Punk feuded when Punk was there was that you've just never been able to do it, Eddie. Like you've always been in the bottom rung because you can't climb to the second rung or the top rung because you don't have it in you, blah, blah, blah. And they finally write a storyline for him. One of the few storylines that AEW sticks with.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't mind this at all, even though all the none of their titles make any sense. But okay, I was buying it. I was all for it. He won the tournament. He merged the titles and he had the Eddie Kingston Invitational Heavyweight Championship. We'll call it that. I don't remember what it's called. So that's another problem.
The Continental. It's called the Continental Championship.
Okay, there you go. Like, okay. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it's
their
even
ninth
AEW's
title that
right?
they have on the fucking
Oh, yeah,
show.
it is.
And so, like, yeah. So I was like, okay, but I was buying it. And to Dave's point, only because Dave knew that kind of leading up, but Dave's point was more like, well, they should have got money for it instead of a rating. And I only disagree with that. I disagree with it because I thought the buildup for Eddie Kingston was nicely done, and then they just end it like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well,
sure.
But I mean, Okada's a much bigger star.
For different reasons, yeah.
Yeah, Okada's a much bigger star. I don't disagree with him beating Eddie Kingston, but to your point, Dave, maybe you make it a bigger deal if you're going to tell us this fucking storyline about Eddie Kingston for 6 months, and then he just fucking loses it.
And if you want Okada to be a big
deal. I don't critique them for doing it on television because they only do, well, now they are doing more pay-per-views, but up until this year, they've only done 4 pay-per-views a year. So I don't agree that every storyline should be crammed into the 4 pay-per-views they have a year, and then they pay it off there. So you got to save something. You got to get people to turn in, right? Because they have 10,000
titles,
like,
you know? They didn't have so many
that
goddamn
too.
titles.
They have a lot of titles.
Or at least keep the Ring of Honor titles.
I don't mind
shit.
special, like they do special Raws and they do stuff like that to spike. I like that Triple H, going back to Triple H, he will have an important title defense for Rollins on Raw, and they hype it 2 weeks before, so you have 2 weeks to prep, and then you watch it on Raw. I'm fine with that. Like, I like that a lot, actually. Like, 'cause you can't fit everything into all the pay-per-views. It's why Rhea Ripley's not on every pay-per-view. It's why Seth is not on every well, he has been on every pay-per-view, but you know what I mean. Like Roman, of course, never on anything. But like. But it's so you can have something to look forward to, because if you don't have a reason to tune into the live show, like, why would you watch it? Like, and so I understand your critique, Dave, on that, but I critique it for a totally different reason, because it kind of betrayed their own storyline. But then I get that they're like, Eddie Kingston, Okada, throw that out. Like, I get that. I understand that. But I mean, they did a good job with Eddie. Like, I thought they did a good job with telling his story.
Story promo-wise, but God damn it,
like,
I just can't take him serious with those goddamn strikes, man. I really can't. Like,
I got you.
It makes it hard to watch. Like, to me, like.
And by the way,
show someone like
it was so painfully obvious that Okada had to slow down his work rate.
Yeah,
I mean, a million times. You watched him like wait for Eddie, and I'm not. Eddie tried. Eddie was not flubbing anything. He was doing really hard. He was working. You could tell Eddie was like trying. He was in there with Okada, so Eddie was probably like, I can't shit the bed. He was just trying to put the pot. He missed the spot. He's all yelling his spots. He's all, drop down, toe hold. Like, he's just yelling.
Drop down, toe hold, and give me a sleeper hold, and just keep.
You saw how Okada had to slow down, but the tribute to Okada. And he's so much better than I even thought he was, and I knew he was great.
He's really good, yeah.
It's one thing to pull him out of the New Japan world, but watching him, he fucking knows right away. And he would have done this in WWE, by the way, if he would have signed there. He knew you're not going to get 100% Okada on a fucking Dynamite. You're going to get 100% Okada for $50. And he knows that. And as I was watching him wrestle, I'm like, God damn, he's smart. Like, he was wrestling American all the way with Eddie. And I was like, how fucking genius is he? Because people were posting, God, this is probably like the worst Okada match. I go, no. It's the least paced Okada match you've seen. He was a genius. Like, he stalked him. He did a flare, like, where he kicks Eddie once and then Eddie's crawling across the ring to try to get up. And he's just slowly walking behind Eddie, laughing and stalking him. He did not do that in Japan.
Yeah,
he does it here because he knows, like, first of all, I need to save my body. Secondly, you're going to pay $50 to see all my fucking. You'll get a drop kick in the Eddie match, and you'll get the Rainmaker, the spinning clothesline.
You can argue
things you get.
you can argue that Okada didn't need the NXT to WWE breakdown, and if that was what was offered to him in even a remote sense, of course he turned it down because he's like, you don't know Okada, you don't know me, you don't know.
Can you
who,
imagine though if he was up
I
there
am.
mixing with the likes of Randy Orton and the Usos or
I don't
Roman
think
or,
I don't think they would. I don't think that Triple H would have allowed that. And I'm not trying to knock Triple
I
H.
think Triple H knows.
I don't. I think he knows, but I don't think he would have allowed it because of the lost in translation sense, where AEW is willing to commit to that translation. I mean, you saw it with the Young Bucks.
And on that
this
point
week.
too, Dave, maybe it's a total accident, but I don't care. Some people are negative about it online, but I think the way they brought in Okada is fucking.
Oh yeah,
super smart.
I like how
I think
that's
it's
how you
working.
had to
I
do
think
it.
it's
You had
working.
to do it
Jess.
that
I
way.
agree. I agree
But
with you.
he's great. Like
he
he'll
is
get
good.
there and he'll
But
say something in Japanese. Yeah.
But I don't think WWE is willing to entertain that in the
But
contract.
he's got this aura. He's not like this lost guy who doesn't know English or whatever, and like he's letting Young Bucks
He
do the
knows
talking,
more than you know.
and then he's in a suit and shit. But he's confident as fuck, and he'll say something in Japanese, and he'll be like, "Eddie, I'm coming for your belt," and
Yeah.
it's simple, and it's like he didn't stumble over the words, and he nailed it, and I'm like, God, he's awesome. Like
He is.
But Ospreay is awesome on the other end of
Ospreay
it
is-
because
yeah,
now
man.
we're finding out how much charisma he has, what a great face he's going to be, and I'm like, dude, Ospreay's fucking got it. So I'm seeing both these guys. So far, I like their acquisitions, except for Mone. I just because I don't think she's hitting hard at all. I think she's lost a little bit. I hope that
She has
she's
to let
better
go.
than what I think she is. I hope that she turns it around. I hope she realizes the environment that she's in and she does get creative. I'm scared. I'm
They
really
never
scared
kept
for
they
her.
never kept her babyface too long every time in WWE whenever she was a babyface. She would always turn
I hope
heel.
you're right because a heel Sasha is going to be gold.
That's how she debuted in New Japan. She cheap shotted that chick and busted her botched finish.
I would say out of all the, and just said this last week too, out of all the acquisitions that AEW maintained or was able to attain, Ospreay is the only one that WWE probably truly missed out on because of his age strength, his ability to work, his ability to bring energy to the ring every time. Okada's great, but I don't think that WWE had the stomach to work with the ESL, and I say English as a second language because that is Okada's second language, which of course it is. They weren't willing to stomach that, which is kind of crazy because Asuka and so many others that they brought in, they're practically translating for them on the promotions that they put through. And you put Okada in some of those kind of vignettes, and I think it goes a long way. But
I think you're right more than you know, Dave, and I think it goes deeper. I think that it's better with foreigners under Triple H, but they still have to decorate them up, if that makes any sense. And they're doing great. Asuka's awesome. Sky's awesome.
Everything
they're all great.
Shinsuke,
Nakamura's doing great, even though
Nakamura, but they're very and WWE's always been very outlandish characters, so it's not different. It is different than AEW. I think this is just me guessing. I think Okada saw it and said, "Look, I don't want to be a loud, in your face Japanese wrestler because that's what he would be." And even though it would work, I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm just saying that he didn't want to be that. I think Okada wants to wrestle. And he's like, I just want to do that. But he's already a natural character and he's very charismatic. And you could see it even though he's holding. He reminds me of the Jericho heel where less is more. And he's in a suit and he's super stoic or whatever. And he says 2 sentences in Japanese and then 2 great sentences in English and he's out. And every time he does, I'm like, yes. You didn't stay around. I'm not saying he would fumble. I bet and by the way, I bet he speaks English way better than me probably. You just don't know, when they're doing their character, you don't really know what a professional wrestler, all professional wrestlers, good ones, hold the card to their chest. They don't really tell you how good, I think Shinsuke probably speaks English way better than he lets on.
Maybe
it's their gimmick.
He did a full podcast with Jericho 2 years ago, maybe 3. And he was fine. It wasn't hard to follow. So to your point, Jess. Yeah,
that's what I mean. So it's all a thing, and I maybe it's by accident that AEW is pushing Ospreay and Okada exactly the way they should be, but I don't know. I want to give them credit. I think that they're doing that right. There's a lot of good that AEW is doing right now, a lot, and they need to rebuild. And it's not the shiny object anymore. It's not we're facing Vince. The second Triple H took over creative, I knew AEW's in a lot of trouble. And then when Triple H started making the product cool again over on the WWE side, I'm like, ooh, AEW's in trouble. And then like when you saw AEW try to push, like they were forcing themselves to fight back, I was like, oh, you're not good. You're not doing good. Like you guys need to stop. And then they lost Cody. Well, they lost Cody before that. They actually lost Cody before Vince, like before.
They lost Cody way before, but I would say that AEW they have not balanced the scales, but they took a huge step into starting to balance the scales. And I'm not.
And then you have goddamn Swerve. You have Swerve, who's fucking. I love Swerve.
I like Swerve.
Swerve is on fire, and that match, by the way, was a total fucking squash. It was just him showcasing
awesome.
what he can do.
Yeah,
like,
he needs to be like that. Samoa Joe, good God. I mean,
I love Samoa.
You know, we all love Samoa Joe, but I think we'd all be honest on this podcast if it wasn't working. It's working. Samoa Joe is badass. Like,
awesome.
Can I ask
TNA Samoa Joe, man.
Can I ask you guys about the Jericho match? I was a little like,
Jericho needs to go. He's done.
Well, he was definitely putting over the kid on Wednesday. And I can't remember his name.
Hook.
Was it
Taz's son?
Thank you.
Hook.
He's floating.
I'm just like, he's floating.
Jericho's floating.
Can I just say that, like, even though, like, I still believe Jericho had 100 pounds on that kid. I didn't find it believable, but I know they tried to make it where Jericho hurt his neck in the beginning of the match and blah 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 to give Hook a chance. But then he goes off on Custis Pro like, you will be a world champion someday. I'm like, you don't have to take it to that level, Jericho. I just thought like it was
Jericho wants to rebuild.
Here's
Hook
why I think they
fumbled.
are getting smarter in AEW, and I think Tony Khan has hired a couple people. I know I don't remember her name, but it's the one that is close to
for the
Monet.
women's. Yeah.
But she's going to start writing the women's stuff a little bit more to make sure the storylines don't have holes and all that stuff. I think they're trying to rehab Wardlow, and they're trying to rehab Hook. Because they had Hook was hot for a minute, and he never talked, just like his dad. Because Taz would never talk in ECW. Remember, he would just stand there brooding with his fucking towel over his face, and Hook never talked or whatever. And then
now
they put
go figure.
what's the fucking guy with the paint on his face? Because Dan, no,
wait, where in
the comedy guy, the very evil, very handsome, very evil,
Danhausen.
Yeah, when they put him and Hook together, I was like, you just killed Hook.
Yeah.
Like they were trying in their minds, they're like, no, you give Hook characters. You know, it's like what they're doing with Corbin and fucking Bron on the other channel. Except WWE knows how to do that stuff. AEW doesn't know how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So they put those two together, and it really devalued Hook. And then Hook lost his first singles match, and he never had a momentum after that. And it's the way you do things. And I'm not saying I'm just a fan, right? I've never ran my own company, but you can see when something's off and when something sparks. We're like, ooh, they have something there. You see that with Corbin and Braun. You do not see that with the other two. And that's how they ruined Hook, and that's how they ruined Wardlow.
And I feel like Wardlow's already kind of again.
He's done. They tried to rehab him. He's done. And now Adam Cole's already. They're going to try to turn him face, and that's how I know someone on the other side is trying to rehab these guys because they had Adam Cole cut a special promo from his house or whatever.
Wardlow,
like where he was like, "Don't mess up again." So they're trying to get sympathy on Wardlow.
They're trying to.
But I'm like, you had sympathy with him in MJF, and he was over as fuck. Wardlow was over, dude. He was fuck. Buzz and I would talk every week going, how smart were they when they put him in handcuffs coming down? How fucking smart is that? You feel the arena shake and you're not even there. And then they just fucking fizzed it out, dude. And he has no reaction. And he's like,
how do you let him squash Punk almost, basically?
You told that story. That story was great the way they told that.
Yeah.
It's like, how were they so good? Well, I think they let the individual wrestlers tell the story. I think Punk and MJF and all of them had a say in that, and that's what they wanted to do. And Tony Khan's like, okay. And so they just like let him. But it's like now, I think when those... Yeah, I think now it seems like Khan's trying to hire people to try to rehab things, and I appreciate that. We'll see if that works.
Well,
I just don't... I don't know if Hook and Wardlow can
might be gone too now after that today.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I mean, if they remove him from the roster and the merchandise, I mean, that could be a story.
I'm telling you,
I think it's a story.
They're going to revamp new merchandise with him.
If they could do that,
it won't be the best for MJF. It'll be a good pop if he goes to WWE right now. It's the worst thing he could do.
I'm saying if it's a plan for them to remove his merchandise and everything as part of a storyline,
get a bigger pop.
Yeah, for AEW, that would be the best thing
I believe
it
is. I truly believe it is. And here's why. If he goes now to WWE, he will absolutely get buried. And I don't mean jobbing buried. And he's great. I think MJF is great. Is he talented enough?
Do you put him?
Is he talented enough to be on the WWE roster? Fuck yes. Absolutely. I love MJF. I am a big fan of his. However, think about what you're going to go over there. They're having to shelve LA Knight. They have probably plans for LA Knight this year, but they're keeping him away from belts. They're doing whatever they're putting him and AJ in their own thing. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
It's going to be an AJ. It's going to be AJ Styles.
But
LA
look
Knight
at that.
Match at
If
WrestleMania,
I'm
which is
MJF,
great, but no titles in the line.
If I'm MJF, look at the top storylines. How would you ever fit in?
No.
Like the Bloodline storyline is you cannot
100% agree with you.
If you jump into the Bloodline storyline, you're going to lose to Roman. So why would he want to do that? Then the heavyweight title on Seth's side, Drew's going to win that. I'm pretty confident. I hope so.
He's going to win.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to help Seth turn heel though. I mean, maybe Seth doesn't turn heel. I'm just imagining.
It might, because if Cody doesn't help Seth, if someone interferes in Drew's behalf and Cody doesn't come out, that's
like one of the Bloodline runs out or whatever.
That's
like
enough for Seth. Like, where were you?
Yeah, exactly. Or now that our tag match is over, you don't care about me. You know that whole thing. And so they always say when a heel turns heel, there's a shred of honesty and truth that why he turns heel.
That's perfect.
It's just the way he handles it that makes him a villain.
Lust in your eyes, Hogan.
But yeah, so if MJF goes there, he doesn't fit over there either. Because once Punk's healthy, they are absolutely setting the table for Drew and Punk. Punk
to be fair,
back,
you could say, I mean, MJF does have history with Punk and Cody, so I mean, they're not shying away.
But I mean, like, how? But is he going to shine? Is he going to give big? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they have. In other words, you look at those storylines that are going on, how Triple H has just really gone to long form, which I love. It's hard to come in and disrupt that. Like, it's hard to come in and be like, so I feel MJF will be like an Austin Theory or something like that. He's got all the talent in the world, but we just don't know what to do with them. Like there's too much going on right now. I feel if I was MJF, I would look at that and go, I know Tony Khan's going to fucking pay me. You know what I mean? Like, because he's paying everybody else. And like, so I know he's going to pay me. And the reception that MJF got as a face before he left was amazing. So like, I think that he's just going to come back and they need him. And I think that MJF, maybe the next time the contract expires, I think he will eventually go to WWE. Absolutely. 1,000%. I cannot be convinced of it.
I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it. He's going to WWE now. Just like I'm going to call Bron Breakker's beating Roman Reigns.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. If I saw him, I wouldn't be like this. I mean, we saw it kind of coming, or we saw the seeds of this being planted. It could happen, and it happened, right? I mean, Punk coming back was a major. If that can happen, Jesus. If Cody left the company that he helped start, like to go over, anything can happen. So I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be shocked. I just feel like if I'm MJF and I'm thinking about my pocketbook and I know how young I am and I know that I can offer things for another 15 years, 10 years, whatever.
Age on his
like I'd be like, I'll wait one more cycle.
Yeah.
You know, like
he can. Yeah, he could.
AEW is going to push me hard. I still have unfinished business with Swerve because he kind of said something with Swerve before he left. I have unfinished business with Samoa Joe. I have they can insert Wardlow just for a small program if they want to. What I read too on a rumor site, it's just a rumor site, is that they're going to rehab Wardlow and MJF's going to come back and Wardlow's going to try to get him again. And they're going to have a vignette where MJF's like, I was wrong. I did treat you bad. Let me make it right. And they're going to reform again and get like MJF. They're actually going to be cool with each other and like be like him and Adam Cole should have been. And I was like, because Adam Cole's a dirty shit heel and he turned his back on him. That's what I hear that they want to do with Wardlow. I'm like, that's okay. Like,
sounds great.
If they could somehow get that magic back and like MJF, he just has to endorse him.
MJF's
MJF's going to be like, you're right. You can kill me right now and leave me for dead. And I totally understand because you're right. I treated you like shit. I deserved what you gave me. I deserved the squash that you gave me. You gave me fucking 5 power bombs or whatever you gave me. And I deserved every bit of it. Like, but I'm here to tell you that I want to bring you back. Like, you're being led astray. Adam Cole's a dick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause it makes sense because Adam Cole turned on MJF before he left. So that's why I'm thinking that they have stuff in place for MJF when he comes back. Would not surprise me, cuz to your point.
Makes sense.
If he does show up at WrestleMania,
they have a lot of storylines in place for him at AEW that makes sense. Like the Adam Cole thing. Yeah, if Adam Cole was the devil, everyone, tied into the whole MJF stuff. So yeah, I mean, that to me that would be the best thing they could do. Take off the merchandise and him off the roster like they're showing everybody. Bring him back.
If I knew that he was off my roster, is going to be signed at a certain time, I would sell that merch until I couldn't sell it anymore, and I would pull it discreetly. Pulling it quickly.
I thought about that too, Dave, because that's a good point. I'm like, business wise, why wouldn't you just clear it all out? If you did an 80% off clearance on all MJF merchandise, that's the same message as you pulling it down. But maybe Tony Khan is just going to be like, well, when he comes back, we'll re-release this whole new merchandise line and 80% off.
Exactly. I was thinking it was going to be new release merch. That's what I thought.
Obviously, Tony Khan's not in a hurry to make money right now. He's in a hurry to spend money.
He wants.
So I don't think he might be worried about recouping it. But it'll happen. I do believe it'll happen. I do believe MJF's going to go back to AEW. But hey, man,
there's no way you don't hang on.
If we hear that music at WrestleMania. I mean, they just pulled off another coup.
God.
Honestly, that's going to be a really rough dagger in AEW.
Yeah, that will be.
Even though they've moved on even though they have moved on without MJF, very good. I really enjoy what they're doing.
Maybe that's why they made sure to secure Okada and Ospreay and keeping them from going to WWE.
That's a good. I thought about that today too. Like when I was doing my cardio, I was like, you know what? Maybe they went out of their way to get Sasha and get those other two because they know they're losing MJF.
I can't see MJF having a home quickly. It's gonna like NXT break you down, build you up. I'm like, no, but I don't know. I see him going back. I really do. I think there's a lot of things that could be in play with MJF.
I laugh if they put him in Ring of Honor. They just put him in Ring of Honor.
There's so much, and they really
even with the Dark Order.
Really, oh, stop!
He's only on Rampage.
But to your point, because there's so much wrestling that Tony Khan has a hold of with everything that they've
good with the Dark Order. I just got that.
They need. It's funny. They need all of that. They need every.
But it's like the best feud we've ever seen. Like it's violent and the most amazing thing. I'm like, did you fucking see the Dark Order and MJF on Rampage? Nobody else did, but holy shit!
They just have forks and they're just.
Yeah, it's just fucking insane. But it's amazing, and you're like, oh,
it's like for 5 minutes. It's like. It's like Cuz rolling the fucking Dungeons and Dragon dice and fucking rolling 16 on that shit.
Shit. God damn, bro. I think Tony Khan. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, I wanted to change the subject because you have something else to add to it. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just like Tony Khan just needs to like how we were talking about Monet and not like really having confidence in like, oh, this is planned. Like it's because they want everyone to boo her to turn heel. I think Tony Khan is just, I don't know, man. Like how Monet said, it's so much freedom here in AEW. It's like, yeah, that's very apparent because not
that's
everything.
The problem.
Yeah, that's good and it's bad. Like, right? Like if it's in the wrong hands, freedom is terrible. But if it's in the right hands,
there, like everything else.
Well, to your point, like Cody taking that freedom was gold because it was Cody, and we all saw what he did. All hindsight's 2020.
Well, even later though, you look at Omega.
I don't see Mone as a Cody Rhodes in that.
But you look at other people like Daniel Bryan loves it. Edge loves it. Christian loves it. You have some people that are just built for it. I didn't mean to name 3 WWE guys in a row, but I mean, like, there's a lot. They had problems with the other promotion, and they're like, I wish I had a little more freedom. But they're
Swerve loves it. Yeah,
they grew up in that machine. They have the structure built in, so it's like they can inflict it. Jericho, same thing. But then the younger guys, MJF. Totally thrives in it. Samoa Joe, he's not young, but I mean, like, totally thrives in it. He was more of a TNA guy in WWE anyway.
I feel like
there's Adam Cole. Like, if he could fucking put some meat on his bones and eat a sandwich and stay healthy, like,
eat a sandwich. Yes, I think
he's got other. I think he has other illnesses.
Eat a fucking sandwich, Cole.
I think he has other illnesses too. I'm not like that are keeping him out, but I think there's a reason why he's so thin. There has to be a reason why he has to keep meat off his bones. Because good God, like you're in the wrong profession if you're going to be Skinny Bone Jones, like in there, like you're going to get hurt all the time. Like he jumped off a ramp and fucked his ankle up. And blew his ankle up. Like, I mean, come on. Like, and I know that could happen. Sting tried to climb a cage, right? And Sting was muscular as shit. And he jumped a cage and tore his ACL. I get that. Like, it could just happen. But fuck, dude. Like, Adam Cole fucking just jumped off a platform.
I agree. Just eat a sandwich. That's been my trademark.
But I mean, like
2 years.
There are people. Tony Storm. Tony Storm's another one. Tony Storm. The creativity. She's like, yes. Like she just gravitates to it. There are some, like Cuz says, there's bright spots where you're like, they like it. I think Tony Khan, if anything, if he's going to keep this in AEW, if this is what he wants AEW to be, he's got to be a better hirer. He's going to hire the right people, not just people that defected from WWE, which they're the only show in town, so you can only really get people.
He needs
from
to
WWE,
not listen to the. He needs to not listen to the guys that say, we don't need to take advice from the older guys, and actually take advice from the older guys and listen to what they have to say instead.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that, and that's why I don't like Adam Page for the same reason that you do, Cuz.
I can't stand it.
But Adam Page is a fucking hell of a performer.
He's a great wrestler.
And
he's great.
And the heel Adam Page with the fucking mustache, he looks like a smoking gun from the smoking gun.
He does, yeah, he does.
But I love it. I think it's great. Like, so there's a There's an in the middle. There's always like an
It's like, you
Moxley
need
is
that,
another
though.
one that just loves the creative.
Yeah.
Moxley loves it there.
Just
Like
thrives
it's
on
good.
it.
Good for him.
But these guys
There
want
will be a
these
Shield
guys
reunion. He-
jobs.
be
Yeah, there will be a
back.
Shield.
Did you guys see Tony Storm showering herself in popcorn on a
No.
Yes.
a quick
I didn't-
gift?
I
She's
didn't
like, I'm
see that
done.
part.
And she took a popcorn from a fan and
She's
dumped
like,
it all over her head.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, but it's those little things that Tony Storm seems to understand that I hate to say it, she didn't understand the WWE to take those moments, and maybe they restricted her. I don't know. I'm assuming that maybe that's the case. Going to AEW and this is the thing where Tony Storm's like, you're gonna let me do whatever I want to do. They say, yeah, I've had this idea. WWE said no. It's all assumptive. But WWE might like, yeah, we're not going to do a black and white video.
Well, she tried it because wasn't she she was in a little faction with Soraya and
Ruby Riot.
Soho, Ruby
That
and all that
other
stuff.
fucking
they
letdown.
didn't do it.
Soraya.
But I mean, it didn't work out. But Tony Storm was always
No,
the
Tony
standout.
Storm was.
She's
Yeah,
good.
she was.
And then
She's
you could tell like
amazing. She's a
when
great
that
talent.
fizzed out, you could just tell that she was just like, I need to reinvent myself.
But I
And
was
she
talking
just
about
did it. Like,
Soraya. Speaking of another, disappointing like Monet type. Soraya is the same thing, man. I think
Right.
she thought she was just gonna come back.
honestly, I think her momentum was dead anyway.
Yeah.
Like I
think she thought
But
she was
but
gonna do
that's
what
it.
Sasha was doing, or what Sasha
isn't-
thinks she's gonna do, and yeah.
Isn't that the difference though? Like there's a Soraya, which by the way, I'm a big Soraya fan. I'm on the WWE side, and she changed things. But going over to the other side, there wasn't much inventiveness there. Where Tony Storm's like, I have these ideas,
Yeah.
this whole persona. I want to go black and white.
Soraya's the
And
same
I
thing.
think
basically.
people,
I don't think that's Tony Khan going, we have this idea for you. That's Tony
No,
Storm.
that's Tony
I have this
Storm.
idea.
Yep, that's Tony Storm.
I mean, Edge had a neck injury. I'm not saying Daniel Bryan had a severe neck injury and head injury and all that stuff.
Sure.
I think that they're like one-offs. I think that she just got caught. Like she had a serious neck injury.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be the same. She's not going to be the Paige
True.
that we knew from NXT. She's not going to be that.
yeah, no. For
And by the
sure.
way, like
I'm talking about
I like
character
that
work.
defense. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm going to be a little risky when I say this or whatever, but
Please.
I think her look got her a little bit more over in WWE because she was the goth and people have fantasies and stuff like that.
especially
I
when,
don't-
she's gonna
I
have a
don't
couple
ever
more
really
assets.
remember me being super wowed by her when she got on the main roster. And I don't mean to be a dick. I just think that like
I loved her
don't
in
think
NXT.
Paige was all she was cracked up. She was great in NXT. So I knew she could do it. But I really there just got to a point with Paige where I was like, okay, whatever. Like when she was on the main roster, I'm like, sounds good. And then when she got injured, I was like, well, that sucks because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But okay.
What sucks
And
about
then
that
when
though
she came back in, I'm
is
like,
when
all right.
when she got on the main roster, that's when they were barely trying to escape the diva division.
Well, and that was
name
Vince.
and the
Vince
butterfly
didn't know what to do.
bell
You're
and
right.
all that
It's-
stupid
you're right.
shit. Yeah, that's what
I would think
sucks.
if you were if the young Paige came up now, I think it would be a very different story for
It would be
sure.
way
Like but
way
Sure.
better.
but I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't
She
think
wasn't
she's
my
a bad
favorite,
person, and I don't want anyone to get
I-
hurt or anything like that. I never was overly wowed by her, so I just felt like her and great for her for having a gimmick that kind
She
of
had a
intrigues
unique
people.
look.
But she was a goth look, and she had a unique look, and people
Yeah.
fantasize about weird stuff like that.
I
So,
still
she got
think
over it.
that she
Is it weird?
I still think she changed the women's industry
Is it
for times to come.
She was definitely
She
one
was
of the
part of that.
pioneers that
Yeah,
they unfortunately won't talk about because she's not there anymore. But she was
She's
way
part of the
more
NXT
influential than
Women's
the
Revolution.
Bellas to me. Yeah, she was she
Right.
was more influential than the Bellas were to me. Like she was
100%.
she was that young hybrid wrestler that came in and Charlotte followed her and blah blah blah, and it just kind of came.
and they also have to give
thought-
credit to Natalia for going down to NXT to wrestle with all of them too. When Natalia and Charlotte were putting on bangers.
Natalia should be in the Hall of Fame like now.
yeah, she's
yeah,
she deserves all
I'm
the
not a
credit
fan
in the
of her.
world
I'm
for
not a
that.
fan of her being in the main event, but I'm a fan of her being in the
Yeah.
Hall
I
of
mean,
Fame.
I mean,
I
when
get
she
it,
comes
but,
out,
yeah.
I do kind of like. It's almost like not like as bad as Tamina, but which
I was just gonna say Tamina should
glad
go in the
she-
Hall of Fame right after.
Well, she
Whoa.
retired already, so
Whoa.
thank God. But
Did she really? Tamina retired?
yeah, she really retired. Yeah, I think
Oh.
I made a celebratory text or something.
You were like
that.
happy.
Oh,
right?
wow.
But
I don't remember that.
you know, like whenever time, like if you found out the person in the ring was gonna fight Tamina, like she was the surprise opponent, it'd be like, oh
You're
god.
like,
When
oh,
it kind of when Natalia, it's not like Natalia's bad like that. It's more just like I know you're not gonna
And-
win the title. You're not
Yeah.
really gonna do anything. You're just here to put someone over. So it's like big surprise, cool.
yeah.
So that's what's unfortunate because
Um,
she's great. She's probably the best women's wrestler that they have
Spe-
almost.
Speaking of women wrestlers that aren't going to get over anymore, can we talk about Ronda Rousey's recent comments?
Oh my! I forgot all about that.
You know what?
Wow!
She didn't need it.
Wow.
She was already popular and famous, so it's not like she's doing this to try to gain popularity. I think she's just kind of, hey, cuffs are off. This is what Vince McMahon was like. This is what she already didn't like Kevin Dunn. She had already said shit before he left. She said Kevin Dunn's gonna be next. Watch when Vince got had a step down. She even said.
And then I guess when she first came over, it was Stephanie and Triple H that she had the good relationship with, and she came over because of them. But she never liked Vince. I guess from the first time they met, she's like, I don't like that guy. I don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he talks to people. I don't like the way, because Vince has a certain way of directing talent. She hated it, and she legitimately beat people up for a living, Ronda.
Yeah.
So knowing that she could hurt everyone in that locker room if she wanted to, I think when she smelled bullshit, like to Cuz's point, she's like, fuck this game. I don't need to play this shit. I would murder all these people in a second.
And to your point,
unless Holly Holm happened to be in the locker room, then she wouldn't.
Triple H and Stephanie McMahon would be like,
I'm dating my new girlfriend.
You can whip my ass in a heartbeat. But they all knew that, and I think they had that respect. But Vince was like, ha ha ha, stick up my ass, and she's like, I could fucking murder you. And then he's
not even that. She's just like, look, I could be a commentator for UFC and get paid a ton of money. She could take a couple extra fights if she wanted to and get paid millions to do those. And she'd probably lose, but I mean, she could still cash in, if she wanted to. I know this sounds really stupid, but she could do a podcast. She could do a billion different things and sell her own brand if she wanted to.
It's not stupid.
But she went to WWE. They gave her a lot of great money. And when you're someone like Cuz said that comes in from the outside world and they're used to making a lot of money on the outside world, and they really hurt people for a living. And don't get me wrong, in the UFC, she had to play politics too, and she had agents fighting for their matches and that goes on in every sport. But I mean, she just knew when she came in here, she's like, oh, I got to deal with this shit. I got to deal with I know a lot of stuff on Total Divas is scripted.
Sexual exploitation.
But I mean, just seeing the way people work, she is confident enough in herself to be like, you're a dick. And she'll say it out loud and point right at their face. You, Kevin Dunn, you're a dick. I hate you. So she probably did that stuff. And she's like, shut up, Bruce Pritchard. Shut your fucking mouth. And he's like, all right. So she didn't care. And so I'm not saying that actually happened, but it was probably that attitude.
She's definitely... Yeah. She's definitely sold Vince, Pritchard, and Dunn.
Where I guarantee 100%. You, Vince was going to Triple H a lot going, can you talk to Ronda? And tell her I want to do this and just sell it to her. Steph, can you fucking please do that for me? Can you go talk to her and tell her I want to do this? I guarantee you that happened. Can you just have her take this phone? Do me the solid here, please. Can you record?
I think there's two sides to it. The one side is Ronda took the approach of the Kurt Angle effect at first, where I should never lose. That's number one, right? Okay, that's a problem. The other part of it is Ronda found out very quickly who the sleazeballs were. I'll say this right now. I'm gonna get a little personal on this. My wife has shaken hands with several bosses that I've worked for over the years, and she's like, that guy's a piece of shit. She just knows. I think Ronda might have been the same way. She met Vince 5 minutes, that guy's a slime ball. Because he is. We're seeing all this unfold, and Vince is a fucking sleazebag. It's not.
I mean, we've heard it for years, though, that Bruce is his fucking yes man and all that stuff. Yeah. And I love it whenever Conrad used to call him on that. He's like, you're Vince's yes man. He's like, that I fucking hate that when people say that. I'm like, you hate it because you know it's true. People mostly get upset when you accuse them of something. If you've never done what someone accuses you of, you're like, I don't even know what to say to you right now because I've never done that. I'm not like that. But if you get super pissed because they got you, hey, Jess, you're a yes man to Vince. Fucking not. Jess, I'm fucking sick of people saying that. It's like, whoa, you're a yes man. You got really upset. Yeah.
Jess, don't you? But
if I'm like, wait a minute, my yes man, give me a break, guys. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. If I acted like that, I'd be like, well, maybe Jess is not a yes man. Maybe
can you give me an example, douchebag?
Yes.
Can you tell me about it?
But and I've been very, very critical of Ronda for several months because I don't think she worked well. She would rely too much on judo in the ring. It didn't translate to the WWE audience. So many things, even when they tried to turn her heel. But maybe
I think the biggest thing that got Ronda is she was terrible.
I don't think she's wrong.
I think she was awful on the mic. I think that killed her.
That could all be true. But what I'm trying to say is both things could be true at the same time. She didn't translate to the audience at WWE, but she also could really possibly see the bullshit and not even bullshit. The things that Vince was doing to other females in the organization that was horrible. And that people were allowing to happen, that they were just abiding by it. And I could see Bruce and others as being totally like, well, that's Vince. I've seen it for 30 years and no one's ever shut it down. We've had wrestlers that have committed suicide. A lot of people have alleged it's due to the abuse that they've, been dealt at the hands of Vince McMahon. So the book is very telling. The quotes I'm seeing out of Ronda's book are very telling. You might want to go pick up a copy, and just read some of that stuff.
To Cuz's point, or maybe it was
clear.
Dave's, but maybe what Dave says earlier, but I thought Cuz said it. Yeah, she doesn't have a reason to lie.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
I was saying that she was already famous before she came, so it's not like she doesn't need to lie about this stuff to gain notoriety or
She could have been a commentator or a sports analyst, and they make tons of money, like doing all that stuff. She could have done that, but she loved wrestling. I remember we saw when we went to the NXT show in Riverside. Remember her and Shayna were there and all that stuff. Like that was really cool. I respected her, and she was obviously in the crowd at WrestleMania 31 when The Rock did the whole scene with.
Yeah, we were right behind her. Stuff. We were like, oh shit, Ron's here again. What the fuck?
Yeah, we were like, well, what the fuck? Like, we were looking right across, and I don't remember who told me that because I sat next to Dave, and I don't remember if we were by ourselves or we had someone else next to us because you were in the other seats. You were opposite.
Yeah, I was with Todd and Crystal.
And Dave's just like, is that fucking like?
I said it's Ronda over there.
Yeah. Ronda was like, holy shit! And then I recognized Sasha, and everything, and I was like, oh my god, like, so it was really cool.
You saw her husband there too.
I've always kind of I respected her, even though she didn't translate well. In my mind, I was like, yeah,
she's a fan. I
really appreciate her being a fan because I really. Being a wrestling fan, we've talked about this before. When a celebrity really gets it and they respect it, I'm like, I respect you, sir or ma'am, like for doing that because so many people give wrestling shit. And I'm just like, but when a real athlete is like starstruck, when they fucking see Hulk Hogan or, remember back in the day, real athletes would meet Hulk Hogan. They're like, hi, sir. Hello. I'm like, you're a fucking pro. Like Mike Tyson would be like, hello. Oh my goodness. Hello. I'm like, you are the most dangerous man in that room. Like, but yet when he sees a wrestler, he's like, oh, Mike Tyson's like, oh, fuck, dude, that's Hulk Hogan. That's holy shit, and Mike Tyson's shy. Right. I'm like, good God. Like, that's powerful. That's why I love wrestling. And, like, I respect Ronda for doing that. I loved her in the front rows at the NXT events and stuff. And, like you'd see her on camera sometimes. And I loved it. Like, I was like, that's really cool, man. Like, I'm glad she's wrestling.
They had to do was make her the special attraction type and don't do all the like Black Swan makeup and all that shit. Just keep her a fucking.
That was weird.
Badass looking MMA fighter.
Make her the female Rowdy Piper and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't know what they were trying to do.
Make her the female Brock is what you should have done. Like,
I would argue, the female Brock.
That's all you needed to do.
Exactly.
She would have been fine. Yeah. She would have been just fine.
Every like 2 to 3 quarters have her.
I feel bad because
I'm going to break your arm and I'm taking your title, bitch. And that's all.
When Triple H finally took the realm, I think that she was already made up her mind. She was done.
Yeah, she was done.
And so I don't think he could really do anything. But I can only imagine if Triple H was actually running stuff when she debuted, like with Kurt Angle that year, I can only imagine what Triple H would have made her and what Shawn Michaels would have made her. I know she's a big celebrity and it would be hard to do this, but I think that WWE had the money. I think she should have started in NXT. I've always been a firm believer that if she would have started in NXT and got the black and gold dust on her, like I think she would have been way better when she came up to the main roster.
I wish she would have came at that time. Yep. If she would have came during that time.
Can you imagine her and Shayna like running roughshod in NXT Women's Division and doing all that cool stuff under Triple H's and Steven Regal's guys? Like that's amazing. Like that would be.
But you know what?
Amazing.
They saw someone that in the UFC got the biggest pay-per-view buys ever. So that's why they're like, straight to the
Vince
top.
Just grabbed
WrestleMania.
Her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it.
Which I don't mind for a one-off, by the way, for the record. That's totally fine for a celebrity one-off. No problems with that match. Everything was great. But after that, they should have just not had her on TV for a while, not talked about her, and then she debuted in NXT. And then that people would have started watching NXT more because it was streaming on the network at the time. And so it would have just gained a lot of traction. And then
it should have fallen out for sure.
I mean, can you imagine her being pushed like Asuka? Like the way Asuka was? And that was Ronda? Like,
and then
coming
Goldberg
up,
wouldn't have been mad,
Totally different.
I would argue. Asuka.
We're an hour and 13 minutes, and I want to murder Goldberg for stupid, ignorant comments.
That's ridiculous. I don't want to talk
even though he congratulated her when it first happened.
He's so uneducated.
He said her name wrong. He's like, I think her name is Asuka.
Yeah, Asuka or Asuka.
I think her name is Asada. I don't know.
Asahi or something like that.
Something weird.
Her name is Kevin Smith. I don't know.
There's too many K's and A's in the name, and I don't get it.
Bret Hart? No.
I can't read.
He's ridiculous. He's so fucking stupid and so out of touch.
But he's so dumb because he congratulated her when she broke his record. Like he actually tweeted out, he's all, I'm glad to see my...
did he really tweet that?
Yeah, he said, I'm glad to see my undefeated streak is in good hands.
My assistant is glad to see my undefeated streak.
But you know what I mean. Like,
my wife, I tell her to text for me, or I tell her to post.
He didn't know shit.
But I think he was. I think he doesn't care to know shit, right? He was signed with WWE at that point too.
As soon as you realize what Bill Goldberg is, you'll be less upset. He doesn't give a shit about.
He doesn't though.
There's nothing more painful than somebody who doesn't know their own limitations, and he doesn't know how not good he is. Like
he doesn't, and plus he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And the minute you realize that about Bill Goldberg, you get less and less upset about the Osaka comment. I mean,
he just doesn't know.
He's just a dipshit.
Oh shit!
He doesn't give a shit. At this point, he's the most over glorified flash in the pan that we've ever seen.
Saka Makata is next.
That's
not her name. That's not her name. He's just trying to say.
And he wants to believe that he's more than that. I tell you to fuck off.
It's like everyone else's name he's saying, right? He's like, oh, Kuchiki Okada? Yeah. Can't believe they let him beat
Goldberg. I get the ridiculous strength. You breathe in fireworks. You breathe smoke. Blah blah.
Hold on.
I'm ordering finisher.
I'm ordering
Mone debuted in AEW.
He's all.
You also heard a lot of people. He clearly doesn't follow the industry. He's horrible. He's horrible.
He is. Like he's a poop mouth.
He's a terrible.
Would you say?
To quote my 7-year-old son, he's a poop mouth.
Would you say?
Did you say that?
Would you say the Ultimate Warrior was better than him?
Yes.
Would you say the Ultimate Warrior was better than Goldberg?
I would say in some ways, yeah. I think Warrior.
Yes.
I would say that the Warrior cared a little more about the
I'm not going back on my comment. I think they're in the same ilk, in that sense of the flash in the pans, the weird, the way that they weren't they didn't love the sport like everybody else did. And I'm not saying that's bad. Like Luger made a career off it. But I mean, I think Goldberg and Warrior are the same to me. The way
I think Warrior
were just in two different generations. The way they came up and the way they caught lightning in a bottle, they captured lightning in a bottle with them. And they were over as fuck. There was no disputing that the Warrior was over as fuck. And watching Goldberg, every now and then on the text thread, I'll throw fucking Goldberg.
At least Warrior, did start off in,
but Warrior had to tour and wrestle fucking 300 days a year and get out there, and I think that's way more value than what Goldberg had to go through. To be honest, I really do. I think Warrior was around in a time where you could learn more. But he just didn't want to.
But he had to cut his teeth in the indies too. Yeah, Warrior had,
and he was in there with some big fucking names. So was Goldberg, but Goldberg was in there with Hall and Nash and Hogan.
But Goldberg went straight to the power plant of WCW, and then went on WCW. Warrior at least fucking grew up with Sting and. They fucking cut their teeth and the Dingo, the Warriors and the Dingo Warrior and all that stuff.
Yeah, he faced Honky, Hercules, Rude. Like Warrior was in there with everybody. The experience is kind of unmeasurable. Warrior just had that attitude. He was a different guy, just a different attitude in the back.
That's fine. What's wrong with that?
When you look back now, I'm like, he's another guy that was just like, fuck you, politics. Like when he was in the back, he's like, I don't give a fuck about you. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Hogan's butt hurt. That's cool. Fuck Hogan. It's like, oh, what?
He is more concerned about running down to the ring instead of taking.
But I also think that does run people the wrong way. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying Warrior was innocent or anything like that. I'm just saying
I am running.
He is.
Linda, I don't care. I'm running to the ring, Linda.
We've got this.
Super your face. You're so serious. Like you're like he's innocent.
He is.
Like you cry. You tear.
He really is. Kevin Nash said he gave him a joint. Remember? So,
that's right.
Yeah, he gave me a joint at his gym.
It's cool with me.
Oh.
All right, and congratulations, Kevin Nash is 5 weeks sober. And
yeah,
that's enough.
He's 5 weeks sober, and he looks good. That recent picture, he looks all fucking jacked and shit, dude. It looks good for him. Honestly, good for him. I mean that. Like you can say whatever you want about
because he seems like he's going through shit. He's going through.
But no, losing his son, it hit him so hard, and there's something that I connect with when I see someone because I'm a dad too, and Dave is as well. Like you daydream sometimes, not because you want to, but I always daydream bad scenarios. Like, what if my kid's choking right now? And then you would daydream your kid choking. What would I do? What would I do? Like you have all these concerns as a parent that you just think about for no reason, especially when I'm trying to go to sleep at night. Like I'm like, why am I thinking about that? Like,
mine is when my kids fall off a cliff. That's mine.
Yeah. And then that they look for you to help them. Like there was one time when Colton was little, and he was gonna be fine. That's why I didn't react. But like I'll never forget his look. He was doing something. I think he was eating something, and but he was a toddler, and I had to give him medicine on top of that. And my ex said like, just let him finish chewing. I was like, it's fine. Like it's Cheerios. It's gonna disintegrate the second the liquid gets in there. So I gave him the antibiotics or whatever, and he looked at me, and the look that he gave me was that I need you to help me because I'm scared to death because he couldn't breathe. He did choke, but it was like I said, the liquid dissolved the Cheerios, and he just got scared because he couldn't breathe in or whatever. And Liz was freaking out, and I was like, just wait a minute, like just calm down. And I was like patting his back, and of course he breathed because it was liquid and Cheerios, and they will dissolve. But I'll never forget the look he gave me, and I was like, I don't ever want my son ever to look at me like that again, because it was like this. I need you, like, and I was like, what if I couldn't ever help him? What if I couldn't?
Yeah.
And that was the last thing I saw him do to me was that look as he left us. Like I would never be able to live with myself. So fast forwarding that to Kevin Nash, who had a grown up son, he's got to see his son grown up, not just through the
bond with him, everything.
And then he dies. Like I could only imagine. And then Kevin Nash has always been kind of a drinker. You know, he's always fancied the wine and all that stuff or whatever. But then obviously he got sober because he went in. I can only imagine the drunkenness that he was a part of the last couple of years since his son died, and just the deep hole that he was in and all that stuff. And you know, I kind of felt guilty after I saw that pose going, God, he just didn't want to go out to Sting's final match because he's probably shattered.
He's over it.
Like as a human. I was a dick last week and I will retract my statement. I shouldn't have said that. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know why he backtalked. I don't know why he couldn't just say, I'm not ready yet. I'm still not there yet. I love Sting, but I'm not there yet. I feel like that will have like PSD, like I'll get triggered and I don't want that. I just not ready to be around people yet because my son, you know, and I would respect that 1,000%. I mean, he's a big macho guy and he can't really talk about that yet. I mean, he could say it when he gets to a point, but I feel terrible. I could only imagine losing your son, you know, especially when he was like he was watching his son become a young man, and they were, you know, forming what a relationship a dad has with his young son, or like his young adult son, you know, and like I can only imagine like what that's like. And every time he shuts his eyes at night, he sees it, and he sees his son, and I can only imagine like what that has to go through. So, I really ended this on a great note, I know, but
well.
But good for him. 5 weeks sober, good for him. I hope he, you know, keeps work. I hope he finds peace because he needs it and he deserves it. And going through that torture is bullshit. You know, it's like, but it's like he's got to figure it out, and I'm glad he is. So good for Kevin Nash.
I'm sure, just like Kevin Nash,
maybe he'll go be a booker for AEW and make it better.
I'm sure, just like maybe Kevin Nash will be watching next week. We'll see you guys at the matches.
Well, there you
go. At the matches.
Like,
there you go. Thank you.
Like the way Cuz
I was gonna say it if you didn't. Miss you, Craig.
Cancel it. We ended a motion.
Craig.
Oh God, we talking about Kevin Nash and Cuz says that.
Well, Craig, rest.
God, no.